Hi, I'm Officer Zeno, I'm the middle school resource officer here. My main role is I actually kind of teach the 7th graders a program called SEAMS, Social Education at Middle Schools. I also know Principal Morano and the assistant principals very well, and we have a really good working relationship with all staff here, and so we're dedicated to the schools. So that's why you'll see me, Officer Schaefer, my partner, is right outside. She's the DARE officer, so some of your students who went to Briarwood had her. We have 4 total DARE officers. And then the other officer that will be joining us shortly, her name is Tanya Ialdi. She's the SRO up at Northwood High School. So most of your Vista kids go up to Northwood, so that's why she's here as well. But you're here to get a e-bike sticker. So we're gonna get right into it. Thanks for your patience. We're gonna start off with Project 529. It's a company that we partner with, and that is a way to register your bike through this company, through a website. And unfortunately, we do get bikes stolen from campuses in Irvine. And with Project 529, it's a way to pre-register, like make, model, serial number, all your information. You can put a picture of the bike in there. When we, our police officers, our partners, when we stop somebody at 2 o'clock in the morning riding a bike and carrying another bike, it's kind of a clue. We'll stop that person and we'll run both serial numbers through our system. Oftentimes it comes back to nothing. We can't prove that that bike's stolen or not. And when in reality, that bike is absolutely stolen. So if you register it first, you can report it stolen both with the police and Project 529. Or if we find, again, that thief, and we run the serial number and we have the person's name, your name, and it doesn't match the person that's carrying the bike, it's like, that's another kind of clue. So it really helps with returning stolen property. On that, make sure that your students lock your bikes up. A lot of you guys, parents, supply bike locks, but the students aren't locking them up because Irvine's a really nice, safe place, which is true. But again, we do get criminals coming from outside the city knowing that, hey, there's really nice e-bikes in Irvine, and I'm gonna take some. So we do get, unfortunately, a fair amount of bike thefts at our various campuses. And make sure it's a solid bike lock, like a U-lock or one of those heavy metal chains or something like that, because those cable ones can be cut pretty quickly with the Harbor Freight style bolt cutters. All right, so there's many different things that are sold as e-bikes on Amazon and things like that, but we're going off of the California Vehicle Code definition of an e-bike, because that's how we have to enforce it. So an e-bike, for the California Vehicle Code, the motor has to be 750 watts or less, and there's a couple different classes of bikes. They have to have fully operative pedals, pedals that can ride the bike even with the battery off. So that is what California defines an e-bike as. Again, so there's 3 different classes. So for middle schoolers, they're only allowed to be in class 1 or 2 because class 3 is for 16 and up. So class 1 is pedal assist only and the motor that can go up to 20 miles an hour. Class 2, which is what we see the most, like your standard Super 73s type of brand, they have a throttle that can power the bike without pedaling, but it's also pedal assist. Same thing, 20 miles an hour is the limit. Yes, I know that there's an app and you can jailbreak Super 73s and make them go faster. We'll talk about that as well. But stock, they're only supposed to go 20 miles an hour. Class 3, you need to be 16 or older, and you shall wear a helmet even if you're over 18 for Class 3, and that goes up to 28 miles an hour. This is probably the 2 most important takeaways you're going to hear me harp on during this presentation is bikes must follow the rules of the road, because per DMV, per the vehicle code, bikes are considered vehicles, and they're defined as vehicles. So they can be on the roadway, they can make legal left turns from a left turn lane because they're considered vehicles. We'll get into a little bit more laws in a little bit, but just know that bikes have to follow the rules of the road. And the second thing I'm going to harp on is wear a helmet. We see a lot of crashes on an average, honestly, about 1 crash a week. It's a vehicle versus kid on an e-bike. It's really sad, but Irvine's really big. We've got over 40 schools in our district, and unfortunately these things do happen. So we're gonna share on how to prevent like 99% of these collisions. All right, and every e-bike needs to have a sticker. If you buy it on Amazon and it's got like a 2,000 watt motor, even though it only goes maybe 20 miles an hour, it still has a motor that's more than the 750, so it doesn't qualify as a California legal e-bike. All of the bikes that you can legally purchase have to have that sticker to be classified as a recognized e-bike. And it'll show the class that it's in, the wattage of the motor, and the top speed that it can go. All right, so we see these a lot. You guys have probably seen these at Chick-fil-A, Woodbury Town Center. You've probably seen them on Jeffrey, all over the place. You've seen the kids doing wheelies, taking over the roads. If your kid ever asks, can I have a Sur-Ron? Can I have a Talaria? These are electric dirt bikes. They are not legal. They don't have pedals. Their motors are about 7,000 to 8,000 watts stock. And they can go probably 40 to 50 miles an hour stock. And I've talked to a lot of kids who upgrade the battery, upgrade the motor, cut a governor wire on there. These things can go upwards to 70, 80 miles an hour. It's wild. Like, you wouldn't buy your kid a motorcycle, so don't buy your kid one of these. We see these all over the place. I know a lot of kids who ride these, and it's just not safe for them to be on it. Yeah, we talk about it because they're illegal, but really they've never been to a motorcycle riding class. They've probably never read the DMV handbook on the rules of the road, and they're out on the streets on these things, and they're tearing up the great park. So here's Officer Aldi. She's the Northwood SRO, so thank you for joining us. So yeah, we see these all over the place. A lot of middle schoolers have these. They're fun. They are not meant for any public road or any private area, even in Irvine. These are meant for like private ranches, so open space trails, bike paths, anything like that. There's zero place in Irvine you can ride these.
So I know I'm jumping in a little late, but did you ask how many people would buy their kid a motorcycle at this age? Probably nobody, right? These are somewhat like motorcycles, and the speeds they go up to, literally a kid driving one of these things and just wearing a helmet. When you see people with motorcycles, they have the full face helmet, they have the clothing, they have all that kind of stuff. So we're seeing kids riding with this with just a helmet, who they modify the bikes going 80 miles an hour, zipping down the road. Is that safe? No, okay? You're not just gonna go, with parents, you have to understand, you need to look into everything your child is buying so you can get the true answer if this is proper for them or not. Just like with video games and everything else you're gonna buy them, you look into it before you purchase it. Well, at least I hope you do. I don't care if your kid's like, well, my friends have this, it's not a big deal. My friends have that. Still gotta look into it. Okay, you got to do your due diligence and look into it. And if they're not behaving with their e-bike, take it away from them. Okay, that is something that you don't need to provide to them is an e-bike. Give them a bicycle until they show they're responsible enough to ride an e-bike.
All right, so just like Officer Aldi said, these are not e-bikes. They're sold as e-bikes, but they're absolutely not. They don't have pedals. Again, their motors are significantly more powerful than those illegal e-bikes. And they can go significantly faster. And then there's the vehicle code section that allows us to conduct enforcement on these things, which we do, our motor officers do, just because they are illegal. All the kids know they're illegal. When we try to stop them, many of them take off, they run, and that's a misdemeanor evading from the police. Most every kid that I've stopped on a Sur-Ron that has stopped and talked to me, I've called their parent and said, hey, this bike is illegal, come pick it up. And I let them off with a warning. Those that run, again, our motor officers, our traffic department go after them, and they can impound these bikes for 30 days. And in order to get it released back to you, it has to be registered with the DMV, and you can't do that because they're not classified as motorcycles either. They're in this weird gray area of stronger than an e-bike, but not strong enough to be a motorcycle. So they can't be registered, so they stay in limbo essentially forever. And so it's very, very financially expensive for parents when these things do get towed.
And the kids know that they're illegal, and when they run from us, 90% of the time we're able to identify them, and we show up at the parents' house, and we talk to everybody. So it makes it worse once they run, because now you're committing a crime. I mean, this is a crime, riding a legal e-bike, but you're making it one step worse by running from us.
Okay, so I said e-bikes, bicycles are vehicles per the DMV, per the vehicle code. So that means they have to follow all the same rules of the road. To avoid 99% of the collisions we see, if bikes follow the rules of the road, these collisions would not happen. Bikes have to stop at stop signs, they have to stop at red lights, they have to yield to pedestrians, whether they're on the sidewalk or not. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. And they have to ride on the right side of the road, going with traffic. That is one of the most important things to remember to avoid some collisions. And we talked about Class 3 e-bikes. Anybody has to have a helmet, and you can't ride it until you're 16. And then the open space trails, it's trail dependent. Some of our trails in Bomber Canyon say e-bikes allowed, some say e-bikes not allowed. And you'll have to just look at the beginning of the trail for that, because some parents ask about that all the time. All right, and then the other thing I harp on, everybody needs to wear a helmet, and it needs to be fitted properly, and it needs to be fastened. Sometimes we'll see the helmet with the straps dangling. That's going to do nothing, especially if you get hit by a Tesla. It's going to fly off. It's not going to protect your head at all. And we do see some kids, middle schoolers, wearing their same helmet from 4th grade, and that's not going to do much either. It doesn't protect their head, so it needs to be properly fit and fastened.
On that helmets, when he says it has to be fastened, that means like completely buckled and at least 2 fingers between your chin and the strap. Because if you have it too loose and you get hit by a car, that thing's gonna fly off anyways. Also, the other thing, if you leave it on your handlebars and we stop you or we tell you to put your helmet on, if you put it on beforehand and you think you're gonna get away with it, probably not. Also, if you run from us, we have communication, so we've actually shown up at a kid's football practice to basically tell him you're in trouble. So you think you're getting away with it, just don't. Just stop, talk to us. 90% of the issues can be solved by just having a conversation with us. We can counsel you and you're good to go. Other than that, we're contacting parents and you're probably gonna get in even more trouble with them.
So usually for the first time you get in trouble with one of the officers, we give them a admin site. It's just you and a parent. You go to a bike safety course, and that's the end of it. If it's a continual problem, then you're gonna actually be sent to court, and this goes on your driving record. Any bicycle violation, even though you don't have a license, will go on your driving record. That means when you want to get a driver's license, it may be delayed because of the bike violations that you have. Okay? The big thing I talk about helmets, we had a student, this was years ago in a junior high, decided just to go straight through an intersection. Kid got nailed by a car, going 40, 50 miles an hour. The only thing, the doctor said the only thing that saved her life was the helmet. She would have been dead if she wasn't wearing her helmet. A couple months later, I had one of my former students thinking, hey, graduated high school, I'm 18 now, I don't need to wear a helmet, went straight through an intersection, got hit, and he ultimately died. So we harp on helmets because we've seen the accidents. We've seen what happens when you do and you don't wear a helmet. So that is why we harp on it, that it's very important, make sure it's on correctly and make sure it fits your head.
All right, we see this a lot. I'm sure you guys have seen this a lot as well. Friends want to be nice and give their friends a ride. And those Super 73 seats are long, those old school banana seats. You can absolutely fit 2 people on there. There's room for it. But the California Vehicle Code says passengers must be on a separate and attached seat. And they also have to have those foot pegs or a place to keep their feet. A lot of times you see the passengers kind of hanging on they're on the phone, they're texting with one hand, they're hanging on with another hand, and their feet are dangling. Like, I have no idea how they stay on. That is illegal. Even though the seat can accommodate a passenger, it is legally not allowed. It has to be separate and attached. And sometimes we'll see like a 3rd middle schooler on the back on this little cargo rack. It's meant to support like 20 pounds, so it can't really hold a 100-pound middle schooler, but we do see that. And it's really cool. You want to talk about the bike rodeo?
Yeah, so we had that bike rodeo at Rancho, and I rode an e-bike and the Super 73, and I did the course, no problem. I even have my motorcycle license. I've had my dirt bike for probably close to 20 years. I had one of my partners jump on the back to see how it is driving with her. I ran over cones. I couldn't turn properly because she did not want to turn, so therefore the bike didn't want to turn. So if I am in control of the bike and there's a person behind you and they don't want to turn or they get scared, I don't have full control of that bike. I was running over the cones. I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy how much that person behind you can control that bike. So keep that in mind. And I tell kids all the time, you can use us as an excuse. The officer is saying, hey, my school resource officer said I'll get a ticket next time I ride with somebody on the back. We could be the bad guys, I don't care, but just because if you get a ticket for someone riding on your bike, are they gonna pay the ticket for you? Probably not, right? They're just gonna find somebody else like him to go give him a ride. They don't care about the consequences because they're not getting the consequence. So keep that in mind. I try to tell kids all the time.
Yeah, something else we did at the bike rodeo, we ran a course with cones and everything, and we tested the full speed of the Super 73 on class 2, so 20 miles an hour. We got up to speed, and then we locked up the brakes. And just to see, this is just one rider on there, just to see how long it took to stop, and it was 21 feet. And so for a little demonstration, we'll use the flagpole as the starting point. This is about 21 feet, so this is about how long the skid mark was. So if you add reaction time, which is about 3/4 of a second, if your student's trying to avoid a collision, you're probably well into those musical instruments. By the time you see an obstacle that you're trying to avoid and you hit the brakes, you're going well over the hood of that car. So if you add another passenger, again, you're adding and changing the physics of the bike. So that's why we're saying, please don't have passengers on there. And I believe Sierra Vista actually has a special contract saying no passengers are allowed. Is that correct, Ms. Daniel?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so Sierra Vista, you cannot have passengers on your bike. So that's gonna be their rule, and they can absolutely enforce that. All right, we see this all the time. Again, bicycles must follow the same rules of the road. That means no distracted driving. I saw a cyclist, a student going to school this morning on their e-bike, helmet, straps dangling, texting, going the wrong direction on the sidewalk. Right, so there's 3 violations right there. And this rider was distracted, wasn't paying attention that the light had turned green, and was, anyway, just very not safe. And we know how other Irvine drivers are. A lot of times they're texting, and we don't want your kid to get hurt. So that's why we're really harping on these rules of the road, because we want them to be safe. We do respond to these crashes. It's really sad anytime we hear juvenile versus a vehicle traffic collision. It really sucks hearing those go out.
Same thing with headphones. You can't have both ears obstructed by headphones, all right? Because how are you supposed to hear sirens or other people around you if you're listening to your very loud music? So you can get stopped by an officer for that. You can get a ticket for that.
Yeah, if you don't want to do it for us, do it for the firefighters who need to get to those emergency calls. All right, again, bicycles must stop at stop signs. They also cannot. So in Irvine, you can ride a bike on a sidewalk. In Newport Beach, you can't. So it's really weird. The state law actually says no bikes on the sidewalk. Irvine made a municipal code saying our sidewalks are really wide and we want our cyclists to be safe so they can ride on the sidewalk. So our city council made a code saying that's okay. But we see a lot of times kids going from sidewalk to street to making erratic turns. And that is not allowed. They need to, again, follow the same path of travel as cars. This is the #1 type of collision we see, the one on the top right there. Cyclists going the wrong way. Again, cars are expecting cars to be going on the right side of the road, and they're not really looking for cyclists going the opposite direction. So in a moment, we're going to show a video which is the #1 type of crash we see, cars versus cyclists. And same thing if you're in the bike lane, just watch out for cars making right turns. You want to be visible, wear bright clothing, and that's why you don't want to have headphones in so you can hear other cars coming. All right, I mentioned this already, you can ride on the sidewalk. You have to yield to pedestrians, especially you're actually not allowed to ride near parks, playgrounds, schools. That's why all IUSD campuses say, even as soon as you get to school property, you have to walk your bike. You can't ride on campus because there's pedestrians. You need to yield to them. I know there's Silkwood Park right here. Again, there's kids playing on playgrounds, so do not ride. It's actually against the law to ride bikes on playgrounds, schools, things like that.
Not only that, but if you're trying to get to the bike racks right here and it's either the beginning of school or the end of school and you have a ton of people walking, you're responsible if you hit somebody and you injure them. That's your fault, especially if you're riding your bike and you're told several times by somebody here at the school not to. You guys just need to listen and be responsible for that.
And we tell kids all the time, and so parents need to hear this, if your kid gets in an accident and they are found at fault, whether they injured somebody or damaged something, who is responsible for all the damages? Parents. Parents are going to be paying for those damages. So keep that in mind.
All right, we kind of talked about this. They have to yield right away. All right, here's the most common type of crash. This is on Westwood. So this car is going to make a right turn, and the cyclist is going to be coming from right to left in just a moment on the wrong side. So that kid was okay, but this happened right around the corner, and the kid initially was like, well, the car hit me, so they're at fault. It's actually not true. That car absolutely made a legal right turn, stopped at the red light, was looking left for oncoming traffic, and didn't expect somebody to be going the wrong way, and proceeded when it was clear on the left. Again, should you look right? Yes, absolutely. Are they legally required to? No. Okay, so speeding. People think of, all right, so there's the posted speed limit on Irvine Boulevard, and if I go over that, I can get a speeding ticket. While that may be true, the speed law actually has nothing to do with the number. It's about the roadway conditions. And it actually says if you're speeding, you get a ticket for driving too fast for road conditions. So if it's raining, if there's a lot of traffic, if there's construction, even though the posted speed limit may say 55, if you're going 55, you could still get a speeding ticket if the officer can articulate that you're going fast or faster than is safe for road conditions. And we talk about wheelies. You've seen this on YouTube, you've seen it on TikTok, you've probably seen it live in person. A bunch of kids doing their dances on their Surons or Super 73s. And even though they may only be going 5 miles an hour, we have motor officers who write those kids for speeding, because the safe speed to take the wheel that steers the bike off the ground is 0. And so that's how they can articulate a wheelie is a speeding violation. It could also be reckless depending on the circumstances, which is a misdemeanor. All right, this is totally free. You can go to the DMV. They even have it available online. Middle school kids should absolutely start reading this now. When you want to start driving, if you're turned 16 and want to start learning to drive a car, you'll have a few years of what other cars are going to do, what they're supposed to do. So know the rules of the road. We really encourage students read this. Again, we can't enforce it, but it's a good, I talked to one parent, they made a contract saying, hey, if you're going to ride an e-bike, you need to pass a DMV test. And they have practice tests all over the place, so you can absolutely do that as well for your kiddos. All right, we kind of talked about the braking distance, how changing weight on there changes the physics, the turning, the stopping of the bike, and that last thing, right? So if a car is only doing 20 miles an hour, it takes 60 feet to stop. So just be mindful of that when you're adding different conditions to the bike. All right, so unsafe speed, absolutely. We throw that video in there because that kid was flying through a T intersection. Come to think of it, that kid's actually pretty lucky that there were no cars going left or right on either side. He wasn't wearing a helmet, going way too fast, and fortunately hit that fence, didn't hit his head at all. But again, we see that all the time. Kids going 30, 40, or 50 plus miles an hour on these e-bikes that they've illegally modified. All right, we hear from our partners over at CHOP that they're seeing a huge spike in e-bike crashes, and they're saying that the injuries are much more consistent with motorcycle injuries than bicycle injuries. So a lot more broken arms, a lot more broken collarbones, and if they're hit by cars, broken legs, things like that. They're just very, very traumatic injuries. All right, we see a few e-scooters, but they're actually illegal at middle school. So the law for e-scooters is really weird. E-scooters came out before e-bikes came out, so they were really big before. So there's more laws regulating e-scooters than there are e-bikes. Does it make sense? Absolutely not, but that's what it is right now. So the laws for e-scooters, you have to be 16 and have at least a permit. So no middle schooler has a permit, so they can't ride them. And they have to, same thing, obey all the rules of the road, which one weird caveat, e-scooters are not allowed on sidewalks, which absolutely does not make sense, but that's against the law for scooters to be on sidewalks. We don't see these too often, those hoverboards that everybody got for Christmas like 5 years ago. I guess you could commute on that, but same thing. These electric skateboards have their own separate rules. You need to be 16, you have to wear a helmet, can't go faster than 20 miles an hour on these things. So again, no middle schooler should be riding an electric skateboard to school. We already talked about being visible, paying attention to the roadway conditions, and again, yielding to pedestrians. I was at Beacon Park this morning during their morning drop-off, and a kindergartner and mom came up to me saying, this kid was on his way to Cadence Park Elementary, just flying by on the sidewalk on the wrong way. This scared this kindergartner who was crying. It was honestly really sad. Just seeing, it was a near miss, but the kid was like visibly shaken up just from the e-bike just whizzing by at like 25 miles an hour. All right, and again, we've hammered this home quite a bit, please wear a helmet, please make sure it fits, please make sure it's buckled. And that'll avoid, again, 99% of these crashes and these injuries that we see, again, almost weekly. So I know Sierra Vista has a few other items to discuss. So Julie, do you have some things you want to? Yes, talked about locks in the beginning.
One quick thing too, if your kid is gonna be riding at night, they need to have a light in the front and a light in the back. I was working patrol at one point, and at 2 in the morning, someone decided to go out on their regular bicycle wearing dark clothing on a dark bicycle, and they almost got hit twice. So they need to have some sort of lighting and wear brighter clothing, especially at nighttime. It makes you more visible, and it prevents a lot of the crashes because people are going to see you more easily.
All right, we'll go over some Sierra Vista policies, and then we'll answer any questions at the end.
Yes. That sounds good.
All right, you're loud enough, got it.
I do, I am. I have 4 kids, I'm loud. Okay, so if you are leaving from the front bike racks at the end of the day, you'll be seeing me, I'm mainly out there about 4 out of 5 days. We have a lot of pedestrians walking that way, then we have a lot of people trying to alight on their e-bikes, okay? So I have my megaphone out there and I say, pedestrians stop, bicycles go. And then I'll say, bicycles stop, pedestrians go, because everybody's trying to converge onto Liberty, either the sidewalk or the bike lane. Plus there's cars and buses coming in. So if you see me with a megaphone, I'm trying to keep you safe. Again, I want to tell you, there is no double riding at Sierra Vista. We don't have a way to check every bike to see if they've got that extra seat, so we just said, and that was Mr. Morano, that nobody rides double at Sierra Vista. And it sounds like it's not a very good idea anymore.
No.
Okay. Like I said before, August is a freebie month. So if you ride your bike, your e-bike, and you haven't gotten the sticker yet for whatever reason, okay, I'm good with that. But I got another training session, excuse me, a week from today. And I want to make sure that tell your friends, especially the students, tell your friends, do not ride your e-bikes come September if you don't have a sticker on it. And I can issue you your stickers today as long as that form is filled out with the red on top that says Sierra Vista Chargers, and we have the make and model number. If for any reason you don't have the make and model number, that's no problem. When you get that, all you have to do is come to the front office and put your form in here, and then I'll check it out to make sure everything's good and that you actually did attend, because I'm keeping paper copies of the parents' signatures signing in today, and then I can issue you a sticker. The main thing with the sticker is you want to put it in a place that I can see or Mr. Rudy can see. It can't be like underneath the seat. It can't be underneath, something that I can't just readily look at it and find the sticker. And we'll be issuing stickers that say 2025, 26. Let's see, anything else that I want to say?
And if you're not familiar with where the serial number is on the bike, just flip it over, and it's on most bikes between the pedals imprinted into the metal frame of the bike.
Or if your bike's too heavy because it's a very heavy e-bike and you purchased it from one of the retailers or online, sometimes they'll send you the serial number on the receipt. Or if you buy it from a local bike shop, you can always contact them. They keep track of it too.
Anybody have any questions? Right on. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you for being so attentive today. Really appreciate it.